All right, Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook team, Meta team, I have a strategy for you. I'm very confident you can grow to $3 trillion in valuation over the next 20 years. I'm very confident of that. I'm looking for a job anywhere. I think that this strategy might warrant some equity. It's a very complex organization. It does include a strategy that will help you grow by going after the national debt. This is no joke. It has a critical security feature. There are people talking about an identity-based transaction system, or at least I've been talking about this, and I see some people talking about zero trust systems, and we see these different password management systems, but there's going to be a biometrics component of that, and there's a way to build a model for other companies to pivot into these changes, and they have a chance to chase after the stronger technology then. Potentially recruit for their team and move their business model to be in compliance with the new technology design. And so that's what technology is in the modern days. It's different technology stacks coming together with libraries that integrate and APIs that integrate different functionality, and that's how technologies are coming together. And so you can imagine these libraries tethered together between operating systems and hardware teams. I imagine us organizing, and this is how you can build a company that's phenomenally valuable, and it has a social media component and a major market vertical that I will talk about. The advancement of all these networks coming together. Part of an advanced transaction system, for example, will need holds for potentially gun control or other legal related matters, and so you want these to tie to your identity products layer on a Cyberforce level, and it's all about how these libraries come together and talking about major market verticals for a particular, or required libraries for a specific major market vertical. Once you have all of that incorporated in your design for how you operate, then you can have this set of continuous improvement strategies hosted by social media, and I've got a demo product here. But if social medias come together to create this pitch exploration tool, and it becomes a sounding board and a way you can extend learning content to the education sphere, this is how you can get subscription services. And I have some repeated example content here, but I can talk about in detail how you build different linked content systems and specific tools for educators to create very approachable content like you see Mastery.com producing. And you can create a gig economy for teaching assistants and associate professors like you see International Association of Professional Writers creating. And you can create API integrations for specific university products to create this market for teaching assistants and associate professors to create this really engageable linked content. And so you'll see companies talking about approaches, partnering with a random person for a grassroots level campaign like myself might go to a university, learn about what publisher contacts they have through their linked content team, because you'll see linked content teams, universities will have these. You'll try to create this market for this because it expands our government. It creates this bottleneck where now, instead of the expertise that you're limited to in government, which may be limited based upon campaign promises and these things, and some of that's about generating interest and being a good people person, and you can have other skills that contribute to design, and this is about building a market for all of the skills. If you're a politician, this will allow you to sort through different pitches, and you can even go so far as to create an interesting tax program. And so it's going to be all about articles of incorporation between these companies that manage these major market verticals that enable a cyberforce such that there are priority partitions that you would have access to, and you tether together the way these different apps, for example, in GPS or anything that's a GPS enabled system, you don't want people to be able to export people's data. You want specific agreed upon algorithms for favorite structures, for frequently visited locations, such that the apps aren't actually pulling that information on your identity out. And so you can organize to make these major market verticals with a cyberforce that makes this all more secure. And this is also the same fundamental philosophy you'll need for managing advanced drone threats, is a security contract between major market verticals that power drone component industries and the IDEs you use to develop code for drones that tether to a linked system that can analyze code and look at code bases and what it's tethered to, potentially requiring specific libraries before it will even let you compile code to specific processors or specific devices or networks of components like drones. That way you can analyze threat levels, you could have a radar tagging system, all of these things, but it's going to require us to have some sort of major market vertical and tethers between IDEs and these GitHub cloud repositories, or Sonar I believe is one of their competitors. But in your particular vertical, as a social media player, you would be trying to create this implementation of social media and compete with the other social medias like LinkedIn and Twitter, potentially extending that to Reddit and Quora. And you can compete to create this skills map architecture, which you can explore in the metaverse. If you're Facebook, you can explore this in the metaverse. I can talk about how you organize with the education vertical, and that's again why you want to talk about a continuous improvement paradigm through which companies can come together to talk about the very best infrastructure to power their specific vertical. Maybe that's medical records, and you want to build a system where you can get medical records in an emergency situation to save a life. We don't necessarily, you have to make the systems compatible, otherwise you'll lose data. So you have to steer that somehow, and it's actually more advantageous if you find a way for companies to work together on that infrastructure. You put them in charge through articles of incorporation of that central layer, and then through a very specifically designed organization that solves this specific security need. And that's why I talk about potentially partnering with Palantir in this technology stack. But there's going to be security clearances, and there are going to be these tether points between teams, that a CTO with an app development team at a company, or a bigger app development company that specializes in building many apps. And you'll see these tether points and these required libraries, and there will be security keys that end up on a specific partition in memory. And so I've talked about different ways that you can have these GPS systems more secure by having priority partitions, and the way software compiles to have a specific security key. And opening this all up, this discussion, you can sell to the public how very secure products are, so the public understands more of this. And you can create this tool for when we're exploring government conversations or geopolitical conversations, when you're generally trying to network to pitch a product in the market. If you have this tool, this sounding board tool that you work with the education industry to build, that has these incremental skill webs that work into base pitch approaches, and you can build this linked content system for articles to be written and then make very easy to approach quizzes like you see in mastery.com, where it's you watch a little bit of a quiz, and then I imagine you build this ecosystem with LinkedIn and Microsoft, and you're able to import PowerPoint slides and with specific animation features such that teachers and educators who are already familiar with making slides can add the animations to how these pop up, and you'll be able to see interactive quiz components generated from this. That's also another feature you have to work with PowerPoint to build. And then the social medias will be competing to have different user interfaces for how you interact with all of this, and potentially how you build your interactive quiz model through a partnership with technology stacks like mastery.com. And then to build this incremental concept web, I got these images from a company called Northwood Software. You're going to have specific ideas with the metaverse on how to build this. I have some ideas on how to go after geometric data structures and build this. That's where I'd like a job if I were hired at Facebook, is working on this, or strategy, or some sort of blended product development role in that respect. But I'm very confident if you go after the national debt and you launch at scale with these strategies in mind, you'll solve a specific industrial policy need. I just watched an hour-long C-SPAN host and the whole hosted panel, a C-SPAN hosted panel on strengthening global development and finance cooperation. Well, if industrial policy is all about trying to drive skills development, and we dump right now, we're dumping a lot of money into green energy. If we're talking about companies hosting what they're pursuing, you can potentially create a program for citizens to invest directly through social media, which will drive further valuation of this set of strategies. And Facebook could end up with 10% equity in this overall company, maybe more. There are a lot of different companies that you want to go after together. And if you get the right set of companies together that can build this technology, they can build it for the banks and say, if you work to market this for us, we will allow you, if you pay for all the marketing costs, we'll allow you to have 50% collateral with this company, because that's going to actually help us build a bigger audience anyway and grow our company. But we'll let you have 50% of this for collateral for the national debt. And then the government will agree to let us create unique structures such that you can invest in companies through this. I know these user interfaces aren't great, but the big thing to get here is the way I'm talking about these linked content systems and creating that architecture. Phenomenal set of opportunities. I'm not worried about what equity I get. I'm looking for a great job opportunity working on these skills webs that will be a roadmap for success to anybody involved. I have some great ideas for how you build a corporate strategy going after library structures and opening up a bigger continuous improvement strategy with specific contracting through Cyberforce and different entities. And then it's all about building a very specific set of articles of incorporation that talk about the president. And I have this featured in here. I have featured the Apprentice and the Shark Tank networks, and I have Micro from Dirty Jobs here. I call it Workforce Heroes. But the president would get to contract with these network strategies that feature ideas, and he would have funnels for highlights that different news agencies will be able to flag different things through, and you'll have ways to find ideas that work up through the ladder, and the president will get to determine who's contracting for these brands, which these brands will have to have some sort of contracted name agreement for use in this overall strategy, but it's to their advantage to grow their brand through this strategy as well. But in the articles of incorporation, you'd want, for featuring this continuous improvement paradigm, you'd want the president to maintain control over some Cyberforce features, or the military would maintain control of Cyberforce features, and that's how you're going to get the advanced security in the AI age. Alex Karp of Palantir will be interested in this plan for that reason. And you can look at specific ways of managing these major market verticals where this overlap is, where that development is happening on these central libraries. And you can look at ways of looking at the finance for driving this central layer. And for example, as Facebook launches this strategy with the other social medias to build a user interface similar to this, where the branches are linking together and you've got this skills web for patent alert systems. If you build this in this way with the other social medias, whoever has 60% or more of the market share, or 80% or more of the market share in Facebook, you're going to be the dominant player in the market. You're going to be the primary party determining, your weight is going to carry more than any other in the industry for the central profit sharing agreement Facebook would be impacted by. And I'm saying it's going to be something like 5% of sales on a subscription network that comes through this model, or a learning network that comes through this model. And there are other ways of monetizing the platform, but it's generally going to be 5% goes to strategic pivot, and that's how you, as the private sector, work together in a business model that makes you all more efficient, that opens up opportunity to collaborate in the marketplace, and you can drive the valuation to go after the national debt through this set of strategies, by becoming more efficient, by enabling a cyber force, and opening up the market design through this continuous improvement set of philosophies, through this skills concept web and patent alert system. And you can open up market design and opportunity to collaborate phenomenally for that reason. So having these central layers, the major collaboration problem that you have, and how to come up with an accounting strategy to go after this, that's all solved and advantageous for every company that understands how to pivot into this model. And so it can be phenomenally valuable. We can go after the national debt, and that will allow a company like Facebook to grow massively and get a massive audience and the very detailed process of exploring different decisions with green energy investment and other complex decisions that now face our society. It's only going to get more complex. We need a tool like this. Thank you for watching.